Alpha Magic the Gathering. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Kitchen Table TCG. My name is Louie. I hope you're having yourself a fantastic day. Today we are going to chat about the very first Magic the Gathering set ever printed, Alpha, limited Alpha. I don't do a ton of this stuff on the channel because I don't get a ton of it, to be honest. But recently I did pick up a collection of Alpha Magic the Gathering commons and uncommons. We're going to chat about it. I'm going to share them with you. We're just going to chat a little bit about Alpha. I do buy collections. You can hit me up at KitchenTableTCG@gmail.com. I own a game store in Hurricane, West Virginia. I'm going to be at Magic Fest this weekend. It's going to be a lot of fun. But if you want to sell collections, hit me up at KitchenTableTCG@gmail.com. I am not like Rudy from Alpha Investments. I don't just hoard everything and have it in the back room. I don't have the money to do that. If I did, I would certainly do it. But you know, we buy, sell, and trade stuff all the time, so all the stuff will be pretty much available. I may keep one of each of these because if I don't have it already. But yeah, I want to have a conversation about Alpha Magic because I think it's really interesting. I think a lot of people think that Alpha Magic price points are just out of their reign. I think a lot of people don't understand where the price points are on Magic the Gathering Alpha. But I think the best time to pick up Alpha Magic is always now. And if you look at the equation and kind of how the world works, it just kind of, there's just not that much of it. You know, I kind of have the numbers here in front of me. There was 26,060 card starter decks printed for Alpha, as well as, I've got it in front of me, 70,000 booster packs. And so we can actually break down the numbers of what what the population of each of these cards actually is. Which means that on a common, like Holy Armor here, there are only 16,000 of these printed. And you got to remember, back then, we were in a world where LGSs didn't exist, and Magic the Gathering was essentially sold in, like, around here, stories are that Magic the Gathering was essentially sold in like a convenience store or a grocery store, in kind of the back aisle of a grocery store. That's where people were picking up packs, or like a baseball card store, like sports cards. That was kind of another place. But it wasn't like the LGS atmosphere where everybody was playing limited and playing all these formats. It was just kind of a thing that nobody really understood or got into, which meant that a lot of these cards got destroyed or thrown away or whatever. And so even though those numbers, 16,000 commons, 4,500 uncommons, and basically 1,000 rares, that is the number produced, but that is certainly not the number that is still existing. And when you can pick up a card from the main trading card game in the world, from a 30-year-old set, the first set, for $20 to $40, man, I mean, that seems like, I don't know, as a collector, I'm all in. And don't get me wrong, like, I know I'm biased here because I'm showing off the cards, but it just still seems crazy to me that's the price of a card that is 30 years old from the #1 TCG in the world. Anyway, really cool. I just wanted to share those numbers with you because I thought they were really interesting. And I never get this stuff in. And so to get in 100 or so Alpha cards in pretty good condition, these things are LP, maybe a little LP minus on some of them, like this Jump, probably LP minus. But you've got some near mint ones too. And then we got a stack of graded cards here too. So absolutely gorgeous, iconic. I love, like, the text is all different sizes. We were looking at these in the shop last night, and when they got in, I was talking to some of my customers in the shop, or my friends in the shop, and it's just funny that you have, like, the different text size. Like, they were just figuring this out, right? They were just figuring it out, and this was before Magic was this giant, like, corporation owned by Hasbro, and it was before trading card games were successful. They were the start of this whole world. There's a really great podcast I was listening to once. I honestly don't remember the name of the podcast. It was like 3 years ago, and it was just talking about the early days of Magic and how disorganized it was, and how they were basically Jesper right here, who did this artwork. He was the lead designer, I believe, of the cards, or the lead artist of the cards, and how he was basically throwing things together last minute to get the Alpha set out. And the changes that just kind of happened as a result of the disorganization and never doing it. Look at all these flights. And so I think the story behind this collection is that this guy was part of an Alpha buyout group, and they had previously, in the pandemic, been buying out alpha cards and that kind of stuff. And then he just got kind of bored or wanted the money for something else. I don't know. Look at that wall of air. The artwork is just so cool. This standing windstorm can hold off indefinitely? Ridiculous. Saying nothing, she put a pinch of salt on the table. With a bang, she clapped her hands and the salt disappeared, blown away. Like, who said that? What's the quote from? They didn't even tell us who the quote was from. Wild. Anyway, really cool. I think when it comes down to this, one of the things that I want to chat about is that people think that alpha is out of their reign because they see an alpha lotus selling for $75,000 or $100,000 and they say, I could never get involved. And if you're a collector or an investor, I do think that there's a world where you can buy alpha cards like this. This is what I'm doing. I know I'm also selling them, and there's a little bit of a bias here and whatever, but you can buy cards like this because it's an entry point into the original set. If you look at Magic or Pokemon, these are some PSA 10 first edition commons and uncommons. Bulbasaur. This is like a $1,500 to $2,000 card in first edition in PSA 10. Now, that's obviously because it's in PSA 10, right? But there's a lot of value in that because it was the first time something was printed. And that is what the collector market, investor market, in my opinion, wants, is the original. And so it doesn't matter if it's a common or if it's an uncommon. People like having the original thing. And I kind of, when thinking about this, I thought through like set collecting, right? And you can, because there's only 1,000 rares, you can not have a full set of this. I mean, like creating a full set of alpha, there must be like a limited number. I don't know. Let's say 1,000 total would be the original limited number of sets that could exist. But if 25% of those cards got damaged, anyway, my point is that like, you're not going to sell these cards to somebody who's completing an alpha set right now. I don't think that that's a thing, completing an alpha set today. I think anybody who would have been completing an alpha set has probably already accomplished that. But where these cards home true is from the casual collector investor who has never owned an alpha card before. Tranquility, look at that thing. Look at the size of the text on that. All enchantments in play must be discarded. I think that the win for cards like this, the growth of cards like this, is not full set collecting anymore, or like even gameplay. It's more or less somebody who like wants to pick up one of these to bling out a commander deck, or to add something cool, or to show it in a trade binder, or to pick up something from the history of the game that they love. And I think that's the win for alpha commons and uncommons. That's, again, my opinion. That's basically why I picked up these things, is because I believe that people will want to. I don't even remember what stacks I've already shown you. I don't think we've done the artifacts or the red cards yet. I'm just too excited. Look at that Obstinious Golem. Look at that thing. We got the Song of the Artificer. The footstone is connected to the ankle stone. The ankle stone is connected to the leg stone. Man. And as somebody who loves Magic the Gathering, I've never held this many alpha cards in my hand at once. It's just really cool. It's just really cool to think through and see the history of the game. And I think that no matter where we are in the state of Magic the Gathering, whether Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro is trashing on things or whatever, there will always be people who are playing the game, and there will always be people who think through the process that this is a 30-year-old card game that has a robust history, and that the history of the game matters. And because of that, the original alpha set, the cards in the original alpha set, I believe will hold a precedence of value and be something that people will always want to collect and want to see and be really interested in at LGSs and interested in at stores and holding. Look at that fireball. Look at it. 3 alpha fireballs. Iconic card. Look at that. That's a really minty one. I should probably grade that. It's a really minty one. Compared to these ones, these are probably LP, I would say. Maybe you could get away with, nah, I don't know. I'm not even gonna say you can get away with near. It probably depends on in person or online, to be honest. But anyway, really cool. Really cool. All right, let's get to the graded cards, because this is where things really heat up. You know, when you can get these things in a 9 or a 10, it's really wild. These are all 9s. I'm gonna spoil it for you. The condition of these cards is insane given the circumstances of nobody collected back then. Nobody was putting these in sleeves. These cards basically exist, I guess, because of people opening up packs later, or just finding them in binders. I guess binders didn't even exist, just finding them in their shoe boxes probably. Look at that lore. And it's wild to think, we've got a lot of pearled unicorns. It's wild to think that these cards have lasted this long, given the state of what was happening. Another jump, lots of duplication here. I don't know if he graded these or if he purchased them graded or what, but getting these all in a 9 is pretty impressive, I think. And centering, obviously on this one, Holy Armor, centering really off, but the grade's really cool. So anyway, I just wanted to share with you guys my thoughts. You guys know, this is not like a channel that's just like all about investments. I think that one of the coolest things about these cards is sliding them into a commander deck and getting to share alpha with people who maybe have never seen alpha before. Because I think that curates a really cool conversation. Look at those Psychic Venom. Look at that card. That is so freaking cool. Man, I something about the text being giant just does it for me. I don't know why. I just love that, like, they thought that was a good idea. Like, why is this text so much bigger than that text? There's more text here. You would think it would be smaller. It makes no sense. I just love that kind of history of it. But I think, you know, that kind of thing is what has a future for alpha cards in Magic. But let me know what you think in the comment section. Last one is the Earthbind. This is one that, for one reason or another, has gotten purchased quite a bit more than the rest of the commons. And this is the most expensive common that I think is in this collection. But really cool. Anyway, thank you to the supporter or the Discord member who hooked me up with these or sold these to me. If you want to sell your collections, hit me up at KitchenTableTCG@gmail.com. I will be at Magic Fest this weekend in Chicago, so it'll be a lot of fun. I'll bring some stuff to trade and to have in my bag. But have yourselves a great day. Be kind to the people around you, and I hope you will enjoy the rest of the videos. I know this is a terrible ending. Bye.